First, let's start with nomenclature of alkanes. Rule 1. How to identify the longest parent chain. The first step is to find the longest continuous chain of carbon atoms. Keep in mind that it is not necessary that the chain should be straight or linear. Let's understand it with some examples. Look at this structure. If we consider the straight chain, it has 5 carbons. But if we consider the carbons that are not involved in the linear structure, then it has 6 carbons. So the correct way is to select this longest possible chain, which has the maximum possible number of carbons in it. Rule 2. How to number the parent chain. If the parent chain has no branch, then numbering can start from any side. To understand it, take this structure. It has 5 carbons, and all carbons are present in the parent chain. It means it has no branch. So, its name will be N-pentane. And we can start numbering from any side. Keep in mind that here N refers to the structure having no branch, but if the parent chain has a branch, then numbering will start from the side that gives the least number to the branch attached. Let's take the following structure as an example. If we start numbering from right to left, the substituent or branch is present at the 4th carbon, but if we consider it from left to right, the branch is attached at the 2nd carbon. So, according to the rule, numbering should start from left to right as it gives the least number to the branch attached. Rule 3. How to name the substituents. The substituents are named based on the number of carbons they have. For example, if the branch has 1 carbon, it is called methyl, and if it has 2 carbons, it will be called ethyl. Actually, it's very easy to name a branch. Just change the name ending in a NE to YL. For example, as we know, 1 carbon is called methane, and if 1 carbon is present as a branch, then its name will become methyl. Similarly, if 2 carbons are present as a branch or substituent, then the name ethane will change to ethyl. Let's take these 2 structures as an example. Since the first structure has 1 carbon as a branch, it will be called methyl, and the second structure has 2 carbons, so the name of the branch will be ethyl. Rule 4. How to write the complete name of a structure. First, write the number of the carbon on which the substituent or branch is attached. After that, write the name of the branch attached, and at the end, write the total number of carbons present in the parent chain. To understand this, let's take the following structure as an example. It has a methyl group as a substituent. Since from both sides the number of the substituent will be the same, which is 2, we can assign the number from either side. The total number of carbons in the parent chain is 3. So, according to the rule, the name of this structure will be 2-methylpropane. Let's take another example to understand it more deeply. In this structure, the branch attached contains 2 carbons, so it will be called ethyl, and the total number of carbons in the parent chain is 7. Numbering will start from the right side because it gives the least number to the branch attached. By following all the above-mentioned rules, the name of the structure will be 2-ethylheptane. Rule 5. How to name multiple substituents. First, let's focus on what to do if the same substituent is present on more than 1 carbon. In this case, we name the substituents by using prefixes such as di, tri, tetra, and so on. One thing you need to keep in mind is that we have to write the number of each carbon that contains a branch or substituent. Let's take this structure as an example. It has 2 methyl groups as branches, and they are present at positions 2 and 4. So, in order to name this structure, first, we have to write the number of each carbon that contains a branch. The overall name will be 2,4-dimethylhexane. But what if the branches are different from each other? For example, if one branch is methyl and the other is ethyl, in this case, we need to follow alphabetical order. Since E comes before M, we have to write ethyl first, and after that, we can write methyl. Let's take the following example to make it clear. The name of the structure will be 2-ethyl-3-methylhexane. Rule 6. How to name cyclic alkanes. It is very easy to assign names to cyclic alkanes. If the structure has a ring, we need to add the prefix cyclo before the parent chain name. For example, this structure has 4 carbons, and they are in ring form, so its name will be cyclobutane. Now, let's move towards the nomenclature of alkenes. Rule 1. Select the longest possible chain that contains the double bond. Keep in mind, if you select a chain that has the maximum number of carbons but does not contain the double bond, it will be incorrect. The reason is that here we need to prefer the double bond over the single bond, and the chain must include the double bond. To understand this deeply, let's take the following example. This structure has 6 carbons in a straight chain, but the double bond is not present in it. However, if we select the chain that contains the double bond, it has 4 carbons. So, according to the rule, the parent chain with 4 carbons is correct because it also contains the double bond. Rule 2. How to number the parent chain and branches. If the parent chain contains a double bond, the numbering should be done in such a way that it gives the least number to the double bond. Keep in mind, here we should not prioritize the branch for numbering. Since the parent chain contains a double bond, we should prefer to give the least number to the double bond rather than the branch attached. Let's take the following example to understand this. Since the double bond is present on the second carbon, numbering will start from left to right, as it gives the least number to the double bond. Rule 3. How to name the parent chain having a double bond. If the parent chain does not contain any branches or substituents, the name should be given in such a way that the position of the carbon containing the double bond is mentioned first. After that, the total number of carbons in the parent chain is indicated, ending the name with ENE. Let's make this clear with this structure. Since the parent chain has 5 carbons, and the double bond is present at the second carbon, its name will be 2-pentene. Rule 4. How to name a branched chain structure having a double bond. One thing to keep in mind is that while writing the name of compounds, whether they contain a double or single bond, we need to mention and write the substituent or branch at the start of the name. For example, let's take this structure to understand this. Since a methyl group is present on the third carbon and the double bond is present on the second carbon, the name of this compound will be 3-methyl-2-butene. Rule 5. How to name multiple branches in a double bond. If the parent chain has more than one similar branch, we need to use prefixes such as di, tri, and tetra. However, if it contains different branches, we need to follow alphabetical order, just like in the case of alkanes. Look at this structure. It has a double bond at the first carbon, 2 methyl groups attached at the third carbon, and an ethyl group on the fourth carbon. Since the substituents are different, we need to follow the alphabetical rule. Its name will be 4-ethyl-3,3-dimethylhexene. Rule 6. How to name more than one double bond in a structure. If there is more than one double bond, use prefixes like di-ene for 2 double bonds, tri-ene for 3, and so on. Don't forget to number the positions of all the double bonds. Have a look at this structure. It has 2 double bonds at carbons 1 and 3, so its name should be 1,3-butadiene. Rule 7. How to name cis and trans isomers having double bonds. To understand this, let's take the example of 2-butene. If both methyl groups are present on the same side of the double bond, it will be called cis-2-butene. But if both methyl groups are present on opposite sides of the double bond, it will be called trans-2-butene. And now, finally, let's move towards the nomenclature of alkynes. Rule 1. Select the longest possible chain that contains the triple bond. When naming alkynes, the first step is to identify the longest continuous carbon chain that includes the triple bond. Even if another chain has more carbons but does not include the triple bond, it would not be considered the correct parent chain. This is because the triple bond is given priority over single bonds when selecting the main chain. Let's take an example to understand this better. Imagine we have a structure with 6 carbons in a straight chain, but the triple bond is not part of it. If we select the chain containing the triple bond, it has 5 carbons. According to this rule, the 5 carbons chain is the correct parent chain because it includes the triple bond. Rule 2. How to number the parent chain and branches. Once the parent chain is selected, the next step is to assign numbers to the carbons in the chain. The numbering should be done in such a way that the triple bond gets the lowest possible number. It's important to note that the location of the triple bond is more important than the position of any branches or substituents when assigning numbers. For instance, if the triple bond is on the second carbon, numbering should start from the end of the chain closest to the triple bond, even if it means the branch gets a higher number. Let's look at an example to clarify. If the triple bond is on the second carbon and the branch is further down the chain, numbering will start from the end nearest to the triple bond to give it the smallest possible number. Rule 3. How to name the parent chain having a triple bond. If the parent chain does not contain any substituents or branches, the name should reflect the position of the triple bond, followed by the total number of carbons in the chain, and ending with YNE to indicate the presence of a triple bond. For example, consider a structure with 5 carbons in the main chain and a triple bond present at the second carbon. The name of this compound will be 2-pentine. Rule 4. How to name a branched chain structure having a triple bond. When a triple bond is present along with branches, the position and name of the branches or substituents must be mentioned at the beginning of the compound's name. It's essential to prioritize the triple bond when numbering, ensuring that it gets the smallest possible number. Let's take an example. If a methyl group is attached to the third carbon and a triple bond is located on the second carbon, the name of this compound will be 3-methyl-2-butene. Rule 5. How to name multiple branches in a chain with a triple bond. If the parent chain has identical branches, prefixes like di, tri, and tetra are used to indicate the number of branches. If there are different types of branches, they are arranged in alphabetical order when naming the compound. Consider this structure. The parent chain has a triple bond on the first carbon, 2 methyl groups on the third carbon, and an ethyl group on the fourth carbon. Since the branches are different, we follow the alphabetical order. The name of this compound will be 4-ethyl-3,3-dimethylhexene. Rule 6. How to name compounds with more than one triple bond. If a compound has multiple triple bonds, prefixes like diion for 2 triple bonds, triion for 3 triple bonds, and so on are used. Additionally, the positions of all triple bonds must be indicated in the name. There are some special cases when both double and triple bond are present in the parent chain. Then we should prefer the double bond, and numbering will start from that side, which gives least number to double bond, and also need to prefer double bond in naming also. Let's take the following structure to make it clear. It has double bond and second carbon and triple bond at fifth carbon, so its name will be 2-hexene 5-ion. I hope this video was helpful for you. If you still have any confusion, let me know if it comments. See you next in another amazing explainer video.